My wife betrayed me, took my kids, came for my millions, but I made one move that shattered her plan. I'm a 34-year-old guy, and the past few years of my life have been like a nightmare Netflix series. I'm finally ready to get it off my chest. Here's my story. The beginning. I was your typical computer science nerd, sleep-deprived, living on energy drinks and coding for 12 hours straight. After graduating from a decent state school in the Northeast, I landed a job at a small tech startup focused on cloud security. The pay was modest, $65K, but the stock options looked promising. That gamble would eventually change my life. Enter Amy. I met Amy, not her real name, at a coffee shop near the office. I was a walking zombie after a big deployment and accidentally spilled coffee on her MacBook. I felt like an idiot. She laughed it off. I bought her a new one, maxed out my credit card, and somehow that turned into drinks. And then dating. Amy was a dental hygienist, funny, smart, and way out of my league. She genuinely seemed interested in my tech rants and had hilarious horror stories from the dental office. We clicked. 2 years later, we were married in her parents' backyard. We bought a modest home in the suburbs, and soon came our kids. Lily in 2016, Max in 2019. Life was chaotic, but good. The startup dream. While I juggled midnight feedings with 60-hour work weeks, our startup was growing. I moved from dev to engineering manager. My 200,000 stock options, vested at 50 cents, seemed like a golden ticket someday. We had a good thing going. Disney trips, backyard BBQs, sleep-deprived happiness. Then came Mike. In 2021, Mike and Jessica moved in next door. Mike was a wannabe fitness influencer, shirtless more than not, always working on his brand. Jessica was a big city lawyer, rarely home. Amy started working out in Mike's garage gym. I didn't think much of it at first. She seemed happier, more energetic. But then came the changes. She started wearing makeup to work out, bought expensive supplements. Lululemon replaced Target. She was always texting, always secretive with her phone, new passwords, new attitude. Then came the coldness. Signs I ignored. I'd find Mike in our backyard, helping with something, always shirtless. I was working 14-hour days trying to close a massive deal with a major tech company, barely seeing my kids. Amy started picking fights, about money, about my job, about how Mike says I should be more present. Mike, who makes gym selfies for a living. She said she needed space. I gave it. Then came the bomb. One evening, I came home early. Amy's car was in the driveway. Music was coming from Mike's gym. I went to talk and found them working out together, clearly not on fitness. I didn't confront them. I filmed it. I sat in my car for an hour trying to breathe. I called a lawyer. He told me, don't tip them off, act normal, gather evidence, file quietly. I started building my case, but they beat me to it. They moved first one. Tuesday. I was deep in code reviews when HR called me in. 2 cops were waiting. Amy had gone to the police that morning, covered in bruises, claiming I hit her during a fight over money. I was arrested on the spot, in front of my entire team. My name hit the local news. Tech exec arrested for domestic violence. I spent 48 hours in jail before my brother could post bail. Amy got a restraining order. I couldn't even go home. The company put me on administrative leave, code for you're fired. The setup turns out Amy and Mike had been planning this for weeks. They twisted normal arguments into abuse. Amy had bruises because she's clumsy. They turned neighbors against me. Moms I used to host birthday parties for suddenly claimed they always suspected. CPS got involved. Amy got emergency custody. I went from bedtime stories every night to 2-hour supervised visits every other weekend. Lily wouldn't look at me. Max asked why I didn't love them anymore. Try explaining false abuse allegations to a 5-year-old. Rock bottom. I had to cash out some stock just to afford a lawyer. Moved into a rundown 400 SQFT studio. Started driving Uber on weekends. My life had been reduced to peanut butter sandwiches and ankle monitors. Amy and Mike, they didn't even hide it, posting selfies, taking my kids to brunch, living their dream on my child support. I was broken. But then, my move. Remember those stock options? The ones I hadn't sold? Then Log4j happened, a massive security vulnerability that hit the internet like a bomb. Every company scrambled to patch it, and our old startup, our software just happened to be perfect for it. Amazon came knocking. Redemption, I still owned 200,000 shares. When the acquisition finalized, my payout? $17 million, you read that right. $17 million. I had kept every email, every text, every recording. My lawyer buried them in motions and facts. The false abuse charges fell apart. The truth came out. Judges saw through it. Custody reversed. Charges dropped. Amy lost everything. Mike disappeared the minute the money dried up. Where I am now. It's been a long road. I still do therapy every week, still rebuilding trust with my kids, but I have full custody now. Amy? Court-ordered supervised visits. And me? I'm living in peace, still coding, still being dad, still healing. And every time I think about how close I came to losing everything, I remember one thing. I didn't break. From accused to acquitted. How my worst year turned into a $28 million redemption. At 1:06 p.m., I got the news. The startup I'd joined early was being acquired by Amazon. By 1:08, I was watching our stock price shoot from $4 to $247 per share. I did the math at least 20 times. I wasn't hallucinating. 200,000 shares at $247 meant $49. $4 million. Before taxes. First thing I did? Threw up. Second thing? Called. My lawyer. Third? Threw up again. The local news picked up the story. Small tech startup acquired by Amazon for $1 billion. My name was buried in the article as one of the early employees. Guess who reads local tech news? Amy's lawyer. Within 24 hours, I got an email from Amy, the first since the arrest, full of fake sweetness, like we were still best friends. Hope you're doing well. Been thinking about the kids. Maybe we should talk. Translation. I heard you're rich. Let me get my claws in. I didn't reply. Took a screenshot and sent it to my lawyer. Then I went back to my Uber shift. Needed to keep appearances normal until the acquisition finalized. I had 3 months to play it cool, but Amy wasn't done. The very next day, Mike, the guy she cheated with, coincidentally showed up at my usual coffee shop. Suddenly, he was all friendly. Hey man, water under the bridge, right? Amy's sorry about everything. Right. Sorry she falsely accused me of abuse, got me arrested, took my kids, and tried to ruin my life. But now that I'm worth millions, we're pals again. I drove Uber right up to the day the deal closed. Passengers recognized me from the news. Aren't you that guy? Yep, that's me, your millionaire Uber driver. When the money finally hit, it didn't feel real. After taxes and fees, I had about $28 million. First thing I did? Bought a modest house in a gated community. Quiet, secure, and in the kids' school district. I set up $2 million trust funds for each of them. They can't touch it until they're 25. I launched a small consulting firm to stay busy and legit. Hired a few of my old teammates who'd stuck with me through everything. Then came the papers. Amy was suing for half the money, claiming we were still technically married when the stock value jumped. She also wanted back child support calculated on my new net worth and primary custody of the kids. Apparently, a violent abuser shouldn't have millions to spend on his children. The irony? If she hadn't falsely accused me, forcing me to cash out shares early, she might have had a real case. But false domestic violence accusations leave a paper trail, and she left plenty. Then came the stunt. Amy showed up at my house one Sunday. First time I'd seen her in person since court. No Lululemon this time. Just a Target outfit, puffy eyes, and a sad expression. Can we talk? she asked. It's about the kids. Sure it is, but I let her in. Security cameras on. Phone recording in my pocket. Trust issues? No. Experience. She cried. Claimed Mike had manipulated her. Said the abuse charges weren't her idea, that he convinced her I was cheating, that she was scared, that she was confused. Then she said it. I'm still legally your wife. The stock went up while we were married. I deserve half for the kids. Right. The same woman who got me arrested now wanted half my money and a fresh start. Convenient. While she was delivering her performance, my phone kept buzzing. Her lawyer had already filed for emergency spousal support and custody changes. Claimed I was a flight risk. Even tried digging up dirt from old co-workers. But here's where it gets good. Court day. Amy showed up dressed for sympathy. Her lawyer, dressed like he bills in gold bars, painted a picture of a supportive wife, who sacrificed her dreams for mine. Claimed she deserved half the money because her emotional support made the acquisition possible. They even brought up the abuse charges again, said I was a volatile tech bro who might run off with the kids and millions. My lawyer, Greg, absolute legend, didn't flinch. When it was our turn, he stood up and calmly said, Your Honor, we have new evidence. Cue the footage. Security cameras caught Amy visiting me repeatedly, not to reconcile, but to rehearse, with Mike in his car, right outside. Her entire act practiced. She even planted fake letters in my mailbox. And those bruises she showed police? Caught on my Ring doorbell, her and Mike using makeup to fake them. Neighbors' cameras confirmed it. Even showed them laughing. Then Greg dropped the bomb. Amy and Mike had pulled this scam before, with at least 2 other men in other cities. Both were tech guys, both accused of abuse, both financially ruined. The real MVP, Mike's ex-wife, Jessica, a lawyer. She'd been building a case against them for months, showed up in court with texts, emails, bank records, the works. She even brought up how they split the money from past scams. By the time Greg finished, Amy's lawyer was practically begging for the exit. The judge, furious, threw out Amy's claim, ordered her to pay my legal fees, referred everything to the DA for potential fraud charges. Then, cherry on top, the judge initiated a custody review. The kids were placed with me. Amy was being investigated for perjury and fraud. As for Mike, he tried to run after court. Got tackled in the parking lot by Jessica's new boyfriend, a cop. Final update. Amy and Mike got arrested. Turns out, multi-state fraud against tech workers? That's federal. The FBI had been watching. They found 5 victims total. Now the kids are with me full-time. It's been messy, emotional. We've had therapy. I burned dinner, missed school events, but we're healing. Lily's back to smiling. Joined the science club. Max is designing Minecraft mods and wants to make games to help people. We moved to a quiet neighborhood. Modest house. Max got his gaming room. Lily got her dream. Bedroom, currently 90% pink. Security system that rivals Fort Knox. Makes them feel safe. Makes me feel sane. Amy, facing 15 to 20 years. Mike flipped on her, claimed he was just manipulated. Sure, Jessica's been amazing. Helps with the kids. No drama, just kindness. Even the old neighbor who lied for Amy came to apologize. Said she was shown evidence that wasn't real. I started a foundation to help other fathers falsely accused. Already helped 3 get their kids back. Dating? Not on the table. My kids come first. They've seen enough adult games to last a lifetime. I spent years chasing success. Turns out, my biggest win wasn't millions or stock options. It was making my kids laugh again.